Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, man. Thank you for being patient with me. Put all this together. But we are rolling. And I can't thank you enough. I know this is an episode that everyone is excited about, to especially the one that's going natural self-care, natural self-healing, and everything and all in between. They've been waiting for you. We're finally here. I'm so excited that don't worry about it. We're gonna keep going. So I'm so excited that we are here today to have this episode. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit with me to, educate the masses for whoever this comes across. Absolutely. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are here in this moment right now. Okay? With one of the best, as I always say, to do it. And it's not on a comparison. It's just the best version of them. Right? So one of the best to ever do it, Dr. Shea, with the word and herbs here in Broad Ripple, Indianapolis, Indiana. Make sure I have all the information and everything down below so you can check that out. But we are here with Dr. Shea. Thank you for taking the time with us and sitting with us today, Dr. Shea.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. Really, really special project that you're doing, working on empowering our community. So thank you for sharing your platform. More than honored to be here. So thank you.
No, this is such an honor, such a pleasure. So as we start every episode, we ask, what's your story? How did you find out, or what was the moment you found out that this is the path you wanted to take? When did it click to say, you know what? I'm about to start learning about herbs. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do all of this. When did life just take its turn and you head down this pathway?
Absolutely. It was kind of a little roundabout experience. I'm not originally from Indianapolis. I actually moved here like 9 years ago for a different job. So I was in this field, not really passionate about it, but it paid the bills. And I ended up having some knee pain that was just pretty chronic. It would not go away. And, I was out there being cute, eating sugar like I was, the one that created it. So I was eating sugar and I kept noticing, man, my knees hurt. So one of my coworkers at this job actually recommended that I come and see this master herbalist. And I was like, I don't know. Well, this person was like, I think you should really go because they had been coming to the clinic for some time. So eventually, I just decided to walk out on faith and say, let me try this. What can it hurt? Yeah. So I came in and met Dr. David. So he was the master herbalist that was previously our head at the Word and Herb Clinic, just a one-of-a-kind human being and sense of humor out of this world. So he introduced me to the power of herbs. He educated me. He helped me not only to get rid of my knee pain, which ended up being arthritis that I inherited from my parents. Nobody told me they was at home hurting. And I was, just out here in the streets acting a fool, eating. So I found out the hard way that, yes, arthritis can be passed down. And he gave me some different herbs, like I said, not only to help with my knee pain, but also to cleanse my kidneys, to help with my circulation, even to help with my menstrual cycle that I was struggling with. So once I started to see the benefit of the herbs, I was hooked. It was not long before I was feeling better, sleeping better, thinking better, because my body was getting rid of impurities and things that I had put in it unknowingly that were harming it. So I probably want to say maybe 60 to 90 days, I found myself just back where I should have been, as a young 20-something. And Dr. David was like, you're good. You don't need to come back and see me. So I was like, cool. So I went out back into the wild, as he called it, and we bumped into each other at Walmart, of all places.
Wow.
I don't know what I was getting, but he was buying umbrellas. And I was like, is that Dr. David? So I walked up, we said hello, and then we were together from there on. He invited me to come study with him as an apprentice. And that just sparked my intrigue, my curiosity. He allowed me to sit in with clients and just learn through his experience. And from there, I just took off. So, yeah, that was my introduction. And, I always say God is a practical joker. No way in the world would I have thought that that would be my path after reluctantly coming in here as a client. So,
yeah. Wow. And for anyone is curious of like the how long the duration, if they're interested in becoming a master herbalist, like what does that process look like how is schooling, how is like the year long, like the courses and everything like that to go down that path for the ones that may be interested?
Absolutely. So the beauty of this field is that there are so many different pathways you can take. There's the more traditional field where you can actually go to what our government is more mandated with. There are 4 naturopathic doctorate schools where you can get a license and a doctorate and then go into more of the hospital route. So you can do that. That usually takes about 4 years as a program. Then there are some other schools where you can do certifications, and you can get a certification in maybe 1 or 2 years, depending on the program. And then there are certificates that are a little bit shorter. They may take, 3 to 10 months, depending on your specialty. So there are a lot of different ways to get involved in the health and wellness sector. And I'm really, really proud of this awakening that I feel like is happening with a lot of people, that they're, shying away from traditional pharmaceutical medicine and wanting something more natural. So there are all kinds of ways you can do it, or just going and, reading some books, finding, resources at the library, or of course the internet. So, there are all kinds of ways you can do this.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. See, because people don't think like herbs. Like I know most of the time we may have heard of herbs and everything, but it never really crosses all, for the ones that don't know our mind, that how impactful, and not just because when you go to the doctor or whatnot, they give you prescription to treat the symptoms.
Absolutely.
But with herbs, not only it's more than just treating the symptoms. You're actually repairing. You're actually healing and trying to reverse the damage that's been happening in our bodies. And like what some may not know, can herbs work for practically the entire body? Is it more just, the typical headaches, high blood pressure and stuff? Like how in depth can herbs help us as, humanity and everything?
Well, I am glad to tell you.
Yes.
Herbs can do just about anything because they are made by our Creator. Yes. He knows from the beginning what we needed, and He put herbs in the ground as not only food, but for our medicine. Yes. So from the head to the toes, the herbs can work if you give your body a chance, because it's not going to be overnight like traditional pharmaceutical medicine that typically works quickly. What we try to do, as you stated, is we address the root. So when we address the root, the symptoms eventually go away, but you do have to use it consistently, and you do have to use it under the guidance of someone that knows how much you should be taking, how long you should be taking this. So yes, herbs can do a whole bunch of different things. They're very powerful, and for the most part, it's not going to be a lifelong thing that you have to take. Like sometimes someone will be on a blood pressure medication for 10, 15 years. The herbs, they get to the root of the issue, whether it's an organ causing the blood pressure to be elevated, the walls of the blood vessels, or it could be a genetic component. So herbs can do all of that with proper use and training.
Oh my God. See, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand. Anything going wrong with y'all, y'all need to come here. Or if you're not here, I know everybody's not here. I know I got a broader audience and everything. It's growing. Find you a master herbalist, because not only especially blood. You see what she said about the blood pressure medicine? Did you see what she said about the blood pressure medicine? Usually when you get, you go to the doctor, you stay on that prescription. That's your life now. I got to take my blood pressure medicine. I got to take my blood pressure medicine. I got to take my blood pressure medicine. But with the right herbs and under the right care, someone that's mastered the herbs, you can be off of blood pressure medicine. And you can help keep it low, throwing in massages like myself, like some massage therapy. We can help lower that blood pressure and everything as well, but with the correct herbs and the correct, pretty much the way you take it. You may, because how would like herbs? Is it like, do you take one a day or a couple of drops? Like how you put that together as far as like really just for that example.
It really depends. So there are herbs that come in liquid or tincture form, which are basically the plant has been cooked, preserved in a natural substance, usually like a grain alcohol, or herbs can come in capsule or tablet form. So depending on the person's body, what we're looking at as far as how long they've had this issue, we may be able to use one or both of those methods. So, for instance, for blood pressure, I may recommend something like a supplement we use here from Nature's Sunshine called Mega Shell. So that is kind of like a multivitamin, but it has different herbs in it that are going to work like Mr. Plumber on cleaning out the walls of that blood vessel. So another thing we could do in liquid form is maybe something like a Jerusalem artichoke, which is really powerful at increasing circulation and blood flow and also cleansing the walls of the blood vessel. So it just depends on what we're looking at. Also gender, age, that comes into play as well. So we try to see everyone we see here, we treat as a unique individual. So, I don't try to use like a one size fits all. Of course, there are general things that help, but we try to speak to the individual that we're seeing as well.
See, that's reversing the gunk that's on the walls of your arteries and everything. Like you probably didn't even know you can reverse that. Usually you see all these commercials that you got this built up and then this leads to heart attacks, this leads that, and then you need to get on some type of pill to kind of keep it from getting worse. But with herbs, you can reverse that. You can clean up all that gunk and get it all out of your system, and not just for blood pressure. Like like you helped my mom a lot. Just on a personal tip, that for the first time I seen her, not only be and have a happy or a smile on her face, but really, really appreciative of things and her well-being increasing for the good, for the better, for getting better, and dealing with the increase. We're to the point where now, soon, as she continues to increase, she's going to be off of, like everybody else, taking medication. She'll be off of some things because the body, with your helping, your guidance with the herbs, have helped repair all of those situations. So stuff like kidneys, stuff like, just anything, liver problems, gallbladder problems. I know that's very popular. The gallbladder, of making sure that, one thing I learned from you, from one thing you said, because we talked about the gallbladder, you were saying that if you had your gallbladder removed, right, that it develops, or you create another
a little pouch.
Oh, can you explain that? Like,
so the gallbladder is essentially a pouch to catch bile, which is made, with the processing of the liver, and the pancreas is involved a little bit. So sometimes when people have gallbladder removal surgery, that bile is still being created. So the body knows, okay, I have to have somewhere to put this. So it will have a little outgrowth that grows to catch that bile. So essentially it will regrow.
Wow.
Parts of the liver will regrow as well. So that's why, some things can be removed in surgery and the body still can operate as it needs to, because the body knows, okay, I can put some tissue, some cells back together to regenerate and allow myself to operate how I should.
Oh my! See, I know y'all didn't know that, because I didn't. I know y'all didn't know, because there's a lot of people walking around. I have my gallbladder removed. No, you don't. You gotta know.
It's not technically called a gallbladder. Technically, there's another medical term for it,
but something's there.
It's a pouch.
It's a nice little pouch. You just grew another one, and you probably didn't think you can grow anything else in your body, and repairing the liver and all that is. So, what about on I would say, like, on a bodybuilding aspect. you know how, and you probably know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know how some people depend on steroids.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
With their situation. But for someone that's not on the bodybuilding aspect, for the ones that's more athletical, if that's even a word, as an athlete, how can herbs help them to replace, you know, or be an alternative? I don't know if it can go hand in hand for stuff like supplements or stuff like, you know, the protein shakes and stuff like that. How would herbs help along with that industry, that field?
So everything you just mentioned, that's all food. And that's all herbs are. It's just food. Okay. So it's either a plant, a root, a bark, something simple that the body can recognize as food. So with someone that's trying to either build muscle, maintain it, or go into, you know, the fitness industry, we would see, okay, what specific nutrient their body needs so that it can not only help build muscle but help with recovery with training. That's very important for athletes, as a recovery part, because that's where they get their gains, is in the recovery. So we may, you know, recommend something for blood flow, circulation, making sure that their joints have enough cartilage in them, because if you're lifting over time, that can wear and tear your cartilage. So I have actually a couple bodybuilders that I see, and we use, you know, natural supplements, things that their body can build muscle with, or I could, you know, recommend a particular protein shake or supplement, because everything that's out on the industry is not great. So finding out, okay, even though it may not be something we have here as an herb, but what is out there on the market that can give you the results that you're looking for, the product that will do what it actually says it does.
Oh man, and they're able to rebuild and recover, you know, lost cartilage and everything.
It depends on what stage we're at, but yeah, we can build and support the body's bones, tissues, organs, cells. That's all we're working with.
Oh my goodness, y'all don't see. Why aren't you here? That's where we at with this.
Give them time,
Alonzo. I'm working on it. Like, why aren't y'all doing it? Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure, and this is one of the reasons for this episode, for this podcast, is to educate. You see, we're in a new environment. We're in Dr. Shae's office as we speak. Usually you're in my studio with the waterfall there. That's nice, but this one we gonna switch it up a little bit here. So I'm thinking, I'm so glad we're here. So you'll be in these chairs, okay? And she's gonna get to work. You know what I mean? She's gonna do what she do, right? But I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are not aware. So like of how impactful herbs can be, you know, to finish that statement, because I was about to go somewhere completely else with that. So what about, because I look around and I see like you got the arthritis, you got the diabetes, sugar, which also is compared to or hand in hand with blood pressure. Absolutely. Right? So would you look at high blood pressure and diabetes separate or together?
It depends. But a lot of time they do go hand in hand, because sugar, although it tastes so great, it's very damaging to the body. So a lot of times when we have too much sugar in the blood, it can cause damage to the walls of the blood vessels. So over time, that can lead to difficulty with blood pressure.
Oh man. See, and the cool thing about it is, like, you know, I was talking to my sister earlier, right? And, you know, eventually, instead of going too direct with her situation, like, this can also help you and prevent, I did it again. This also can help and prevent you from, say hi. And there we go. This also can help and prevent you from surgery. So if there's something that you may have to have surgery on, similar piggybacking off of, you like the removing of the gallbladder, like we was kind of mentioned earlier, that can help prevent you from that you could address with herbs and to take care of in long term. But you have to be proactive. Absolutely. You have to be active. There's something going on with you. Usually our mindset is, we got to go see the doctor, right? But we never think about massages. We never think about herbalists. We never think about chiropractors. We never think about all the self-care treatments that you can do to help with that matter. It's always straight to the doctor, you know, and sometimes we can be putting too much faith, too much relying, too much dependency on your doctor, when you have to understand that you have the power to take care of, with the right surroundings. The doctors, I'm not saying no knock on them. They do what they do. But most of the time you go see the doctor or a surgeon, they specialize in prescriptions and surgery. And when you go there, have it in mind that, of course, I know some try to help and prevent getting to that situation. But you could have done that as well. And this is for an episode like this, going to see an herbalist and taking care of to try to reverse some of these things. Now, let's go even deeper.
Let's do it.
We're going to go deep with this one. What about stuff like, because I know you talked about menstrual cycles. Mm-hmm. So what about like pregnancy or testosterone levels or, I know people may even have heart problems in trying to create life, right? So what about that aspect? Like, how would you treat that?
Absolutely. So increasingly, we're seeing that reproductive health and fertility is becoming some really big issues in communities across the board. And a lot of times that is tied into a lot of what we put in our bodies. Unfortunately, especially in the US, our food is not food. It has been, chemically altered, genetically modified. So we're not receiving the same nutrients as we used to back in the day when, the soil had trace minerals and nutrients that we needed to grow and have healthy bodies. So with the reproductive system, we can support it, especially when it comes to women's bodies, making sure that their cycles are not only regular, but they should not be crippling in pain. You shouldn't be on the floor once a month. You shouldn't be having such heavy bleeding or cramping to the point where you have to take off work. That's a sign that something is out of balance. So what we do is we find out, okay, what are you experiencing? And then what can we do to improve that experience? A lot of times, especially in the Black community, women are experiencing fibroids. So that is something we also work with: endometriosis, PCOS, anything that's related to the female reproductive system. We can help. Um, Even when it comes to ovarian cysts or uterine cysts, we can get those to dissolve and pass through the body. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, like I said, but with consistency, commitment, and a little time, we can work these things. And then also, the basis of this is nutrition. Mm-hmm. So what am I putting in my body that is feeding things that I don't want? So sugar is top of the line for a lot of people. Also, basically, drinking water. A lot of us are not consuming enough water. The water is the building blocks to a lot of what the body needs to operate at its optimum. So water, good foods, complex nutrients. Just pushing back when it comes to that fried chicken or, whatever it is that you enjoy. Yeah. And then, just putting in more, dark leafy greens, vegetables and things like that. Not always the potato.
Right. Right. I like a loaded baked potato myself.
Yeah, but put a little carrot, a little kale in there. Yeah. Things like that. And then on the flip side with the men, we're noticing a lot of issues when it comes to impotence. It's not a big deal, but we can support that system with a lot of times basic things like zinc. Prostate health is very important as well. That's becoming an issue for younger and younger men that I'm seeing. So addressing the prostate health, also blood flow, circulation, because we want blood to flow all over, and then that will help you when, it's game time. Yes. So just supporting the body and giving it what it needs on a nutritional basis, because like I said, herbs are just food. A lot of times you got them in the kitchen, you don't even know. Parsley, peppermint, things like that, ginger. It's all herbal, but food. That's all we're doing is giving you some food that's in a liquid form or a capsule form. And it has, medicinal properties and benefits.
Oh, simple man. As that. See, it's for every. Why aren't you here?
They're coming.
Like I said before, I know a lot of y'all don't understand. Y'all, this is what the episode. Y'all been waiting on it, and I'm trying to get as many questions to answer and think about everybody as much as possible. That way, we can hit on all aspects. We talked about the blood pressure, we talked about the sugar, but it's food. I don't want you to miss that. As she says, it's food. So that means, what are you eating? Don't forget that portion. Yes, this is good to help, but you have to be able to, I don't want to necessarily change your diet, but make sure that you're eating. I know eating for pleasure is great and food tastes good. I understand. You see me. I understand. Okay? This is the first time. Usually you see it like a year, but you see me on this episode. I understand, okay? And this is not bashing me. I'm saying I'm with you, right? But we have to do better as far as our intake with food. You don't have to eat chicken every day. You don't have to eat burgers every day. I see it. My mentality to help me along the way is basically, they say the cheat day, right? But try to find something you can enjoy and eat more often. Let's start there mentality wise, and then I'm going to tap back on the mentality. Find a fruit that you really like. If you like green grapes, try to consume that a lot more. If you like, broccoli, try to consume that a lot more. I understand greens don't count. I mean, it can, but how you prepare it is a little different. It could be high in sodium and everything, because I know y'all want to put extra stuff. It's not just greens in there, and it makes it that much better. I understand. But we have to do better in making some solid changes. Right? Like I said before with the mentality, what about the ones that are maybe coming across maybe some memory loss, or that may be having trouble focusing, or trouble, processing a lot of things or comprehending a lot of things? How can we help the ones, or how can you, with what you do, the food, help the ones to kind of improve brain health?
Absolutely. That is a fantastic question. A lot of times that's your body's way of communicating a couple things. One, you may not be getting enough rest. Two, your brain is hungry. 3, we may not be managing stress well, because stress a lot of times can trigger short-term memory loss. So addressing those 3 issues, among other things, can help. And we would support the body with something herbal, like we have a blend here that we've created. It's called Rejuvenator Plus 2. And it's kind of like a little hodgepodge of different herbs like royal jelly, ginkgo, ashwagandha, different things that have been studied to support brain health. And there's another one that's just a single herb. It's called phosphatidylserine. We call it PPS for short. And this comes from a plant protein that supports the brain function with concentration, focus, memory. And that one I'm seeing is pulling a lot of people off that, pre-dementia or pre-Alzheimer's track, because the brain just needs certain food, certain nutrients. So that's what we do, is we just support the brain. And then we also say, okay, maybe we need to cut back on this phone 30 minutes before bed so that you can finish processing in your subconscious. We don't have that blue light coming in your eyes. Maybe we need to finish eating by a certain time so that we have, proper digestion has taken place. And then your body can start to just relax in the evening so that we can support, the sleep cycle, the adrenal glands. Let your body calm down, because a lot of times that constant fight or flight, that comes from excess fatigue. So just supporting the body any way we can. And then over time, you'll see, okay, I remember where I put my keys.
Right.
I know where I parked my car.
Right. I've been out plenty of times. Like,
what did I come in here for?
You know what I mean? I've done that plenty of times too. Just in a room, like, I'm in here for something. What happened? Right? And like one of the things you mentioned about the eyes. Well, first, let's transition from dinner to supper. Yeah. Let's have supper. Now, the dinner, because of course, you want the late night snack, but you should be asleep Okay, versus seeing what they post on here at 12:30 in the morning. We got to get away from all this technology, social medias, particularly. That's really causing more harm than good. Not saying it's a bad thing as far as like communication and keeping in, connection with friends across the world. That's great, but at the same time, it's harming our bodies if we're consuming that more than we should. Right. But you, like I said, you was talking about the eyes because we both got glasses on right now. So, but I know as you get older, there's a lot more individuals that didn't used to wear glasses that are now having glasses as they get older. So, what about the eyes? In addition of putting the phone down, what about the eyes can we do to keep that strong and keeping our strength and our vision?
Absolutely. It goes back to what you just mentioned, putting these phones down. We are, I'm sure there are going to be studies years from now about the effect of what technology has done to people's vision. So that's one thing, is just taking a break, because believe it or not, when you're looking at a screen, you're not blinking as much, and your body needs to blink. We need to coat those eyes with, tears, get rid of debris with just blinking, basic blinking. So one thing is definitely, pushing back from the technology. And then, of course, I'm going to say it again, just feeding the eyes, making sure that we have vitamin A, vitamin K, basic things that the body needs to support itself. Making sure that we're supporting the optic nerve, the brain as well, because we have that occipital lobe. That's where our vision is in our brain. So just making sure we are feeding the brain, feeding the blood vessels around the eyes. That's very much tied to blood sugar. So a lot of people, when they start to be on that pre-diabetes or diabetes route, they may have issues with their vision. Also, making sure that you are, again, sleeping, because we got to rest those eyes. And of course, with time, our eyes with age do change shape a little bit. That's why some people be like this when they like 65, I can't read it. Because, you got to get those readers from time to time. But before that stage, supporting your eyes with things like eye bright. That's an herb that is really great for eye health. Another one that's common, bilberry, things like that. Or, just an eye vitamin, things that have lutein in it, omega-3 fatty acids, just to support the eyes.
Okay. We got something for y'all too. Yeah. And us. I'm part of y'all. So it goes back to the question, why aren't you here? Yeah, that's gonna be the title of the of the episode. I'm playing around with that. I like that saying. I'm gonna say that all the time. So now let's go with gut health. But let's start with the mouth. What about, healthy gums, the teeth, the tongue, all the way down to the gut, the digestive system. And how is that whole process looking like? Which I'm pretty sure it's similar to what you've been stating before, making sure, the rest and making sure what you're eating, because that can make an impact on your mouth and impact on your this. That's it. I'm with you. Okay. Make a pat on the gut health, but how would you address that as well? Because I'm pretty sure that's probably just as impactful as the heart and the blood circulation, because the gut, if I'm figuring right, was our first brain, right? In the development of who we become as human beings through the cycle of conceiving. Right? Absolutely. So that our gut becomes the first health, or some may look at it as a secondary heart, or the first heart. Absolutely. Or the first brain. That too. Like everything. The gut was first, Absolutely. And if we ignore this, I know that we ignore the stomach so much, because there's a lot of us walking around here ignoring the stomach so much. I think I said that the best way I possibly could. I'm with you. Okay? I'm with you. So, how would we address that? What would you say about that aspect to add on addition to what we already been saying, especially water, etc.?
Absolutely. Definitely. Got to get that water intake in, because that helps with digestion, helps with absorption of nutrients. And then, too, a lot of people don't think about it, but just slowing down when you are eating. A lot of us, unfortunately, we're on a time when it comes to maybe lunch, but we take that rush mentality into our meals. A lot of times we may eat standing up in front of the TV. We just need to slow down and chew your food, because that's where your digestion starts. So we got to make sure we're taking small bites, chewing it, slowing down, because that can improve how things get to the stomach, the small intestine. And then, from there, a lot of inflammation, diseases, they are finding they start in the gut. So gut health is supremely important. So making sure that, you're eating complex foods so that you can support your microbiome. We got to make sure there's a balance of good and bad bacteria, making sure we're not eating too much sugar, because that feeds yeast, and then you get yeast overgrowth and all the things that come along with that. So, and then also making sure that you are going to the restroom at least once a day. People with, gut um, issues, if you're not going to the restroom, that is basically allowing fecal matter to back up in your colon. And over time, we can, lead to issues with colon health. Colon cancer is a major thing that's knocking out a lot of people's health. So making sure that you are going to the bathroom every day, once or twice a month, that is not enough. You have to go to the restroom, because what goes in has got to come out. Right, so making sure that you are sustaining your gut health with, maybe it's a prebiotic, a probiotic, a yogurt, or kimchi, or, something pickled that will support your gut and intestinal health.
And I always say, you can leave a pickle out. I never thought about pickles either. Oh, I'm not a pickle person. You know what I mean? Like, you leave pickles alone. Like, don't even think about putting pickles. Okay? Not knowing that can help with the gut health. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all say minus the pickle. Unless you go, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna go to the best spots on that. But, and I'm pretty sure there's things that you can eat, like you just mentioned. What are some herbs that can help flushing it out, so people won't be going in there trying to force?
Absolutely, because that can lead to hemorrhoids and all kinds of other things. So white oak bark is something that can help with just moving things along. Another great one is senna. A lot of times you'll see that as a basis of a lot of laxatives or laxative teas. Chamomile, that's really calming and soothing. Another one is Cascara sagrada. That's one you'll probably see commonly used. Or just from time to time, a probiotic. I can't tell you enough. That will just move things along, keep things balanced. So things like that will just support the gut health.
Awesome. Well, let's move to a different aspect, because I've been going down the body and trying to think of, from the arthritis we talked about to other things. Let's go as far as a little bit that's from the body. Let's talk about but not exactly an organ. What about which we kind of hit on before, kind of, which is the energy. The energy with the body, for ones that are just fatigued, or for the ones that they may be, I don't know if you have any clients that may be energetically sensitive, like knowing that I'm an empath. If somebody tells me something, I can feel their pain in my knees. I physically, it's not like, oh my gosh, my leg is cut off, but my body reacts to certain things I may hear of surgery, or something that, somebody's been, ran over or something, and Lord forbid, what I mean? We don't want to, but what about that aspect? Is there things that can help us energetically to help keep that of strength?
So it's kind of, I heard you say two different things: fatigue versus, feeling things in the body as a part of someone sharing something with you. So I'm gonna try to address both. So fatigue a lot of times can originate from a deficiency, and I'm seeing a lot of deficiency when it comes to the thyroid gland. So the thyroid is, it's a little underrepresented, a little underrespected, but it does a lot of different things in the body. So the thyroid is something we can support with its basic requirements, which are iodine and selenium. So those two nutrients together support the thyroid, which is right there under your chin, kind of around your windpipe. And it makes two hormones, but those hormones trigger a whole waterfall of reactions in the body. So if you do find that you're constantly fatigued, cold a lot of times, cold hands, cold feet. If you find, okay, that hairline is trying to thin on me, or your nails are brittle, that is your body's way of signaling there may be a thyroid deficiency. So that's something we can support the body with on, just the fatigue side. But as far as energy and feeling things from people, you can support the nervous system to help with that. So a lot of times, with the people I see, I'm not only working with the physical body, but we're also having a spiritual exchange. So I can have that happen from time to time where I just can pick up some people's emotions, and so that I don't become burdened with that or carry it longer than I need to, I make sure I support my nervous system. So there are some things, that we can do, something like a valerian root or tansy, or we have a particular blend here that is called nerve pain. And it helps support the nervous system, helps relax the body so that we don't get into that anxiety state, that stress, nervousness. A lot of people, sometimes if you let it go too far, you'll start, your heart racing or palpitations, or you find that, you feel like you're having a heart attack almost. So that will just help relax the nervous system and allow you to create a little bit more balance when it comes to feeling people's emotions around you. You have to, gird your loins, so to speak. Allow yourself to feel it, but also give yourself time to release that back, whether it's to God or whoever you believe in. But a lot of times we're carrying things that don't even belong to us, and that can create fatigue. So just realizing and recognizing, okay, is this for me to do something with, for me to pray about, for me to hold it, let it go, find out what that is, and then move accordingly, so that over time you don't find yourself, in harm's way when it comes to what you allow yourself to come in contact with energetically.
See, wow. It's that's amazing. So there's a couple of things off of what you just said that I would like to go deeper on. Like, one, you said that you came, felt things energetically, or the vibration that's there. Like, how do you keep you? What's your day to day where you keep you energetically safe, where things or emotions or energy that you may come across on your day to day, how do you keep that away from you? Like, how do you disconnect from that?
Y'all ready to go to church?
Let's do it.
So yes, I am a Christian, first off. So before I start anything when it comes to my clients, I just ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to me what I'm supposed to do for the day. I pray. I ask for protection. I ask for angels to be assigned to me, and that they go before me and make my path straight, that nothing and no one that crosses this threshold will be allowed to bring anything that's not of God. And if I do recognize it, I cast that thing down before I, allow it to enter my space and my atmosphere. Also, I make sure that I check myself, make sure, okay, is there anything that I'm bringing to the table that may hinder my work? Because I'm working for God. These are his people that he's sending to me, and he's charged me to empower them, to give them tools, abilities, knowledge to support their health and healing, so that they can go about living in their purpose to build his kingdom. So if I'm off base or off kilter because of something that I've allowed to distract me, I have to clear that up before I start my work. So yes, prayer is one of my main weapons of warfare, because a lot of times, like I said, I'm working with the spiritual as much, if not more, than the physical. So I just make sure that, I'm ready to rock and roll when I come in here, and that I allow the Holy Spirit to have full reign.
Okay. So even in addition to that, like you were mentioning, like the thinning of the nails, the thinning of the hair, and ladies, the thinning.
Fellas too now.
Fellas too. I keep a low favor. I'm gonna hold on to it as long as possible. But there's the thyroid gland, and addressing that can help reverse that altogether. It's so much to unpack. What are some things that you come across? I mean, I know altogether people are not thinking about herbs, but kind of staying on, I don't want to say energetically, because we're going to go back to that too. what are things that you can say that people may not know? What is one of the most common things outside of herbs and all together that you think that everyone can benefit off of? What's that number one? It's like, if you did this, type of mindset, like, or statement. Is there something that you can give us that can really make a big impact that can help everyone?
Drink water.
Pretty much. That's what it is. Speaking of water, I heard, well, not heard, but some people think that, alkaline water, there's different versions of water. So let's go into water a little bit. To me, electrolytes and coconut water, I think, well, I know because I drink coconut water all the time, is good for you and making sure you have all the vitamin and minerals and everything like that. But do you think just water in general is all sufficient, or should one lean towards one or another? Maybe purified water. You got all kinds of water out there. You got your Fiji water, you got your spring water, and some may just, you even got distilled water. Some may just be picking up water and it's like, I'm gonna get my water intake. But what would you say is a good version of water? H2O.
Yes. So there are indeed water wars going on. I try not to get into it because I want it to be as accessible to as many people as possible. As long as it's been through some kind of filtration, that is the basics. So just don't drink tap water because there are things in tap water that are not healthy for you. But, I don't prescribe to, alkaline versus all that. Whatever you like, just make sure you're drinking enough, because water is the foundation of the body's building blocks, whether it's your skin, your digestive system, your brain, your circulation, blood sugar regulation. Water is the basis. So as long as you're drinking enough water, for most adults, it's about 4 pints. Maybe for smaller adults, it might be 3 to 4. But that is, the minimum that your body needs. So, try to push back from the coffee. Try to push back from, the energy drinks. Drink just basic water. I know a lot of people, they don't like the taste of water. That's why you kind of experiment and find out what you do like. But water, 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 especially as we're getting ready to go into these warmer months where we'll be sweating more. So we have to put a little bit more in. But water is the foundation.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, speaking about water, because you talked about like the coffee and stuff, you got, what is it, the new thing out here, basic water though, but you've seen, what is it, mud water? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what? Now, there's no knock, but it's very curious of, basic water is what we're going with overall. But I was curious of your thoughts of what you're thinking about this mud water that's going around.
As long as you're drinking enough just pure water on the backside.
Yeah. Who cares about
it? Do what you want to do, but make sure you at least have that basic, 4 pints of water in, not mud water, but regular water.
Regular water. Oh my gosh. Like that. Oh man. So like, let's go more to the business side. Like, how has the growth been? How have everyone that, because I already know everybody that I brought to you. And I got so many more coming. Every time I see any of my, family and relatives, it's like, I'm gonna go to your herbalist, right? Herbal, right? Yeah, I'm going there. I'm gonna call her next week and see what's going on. I was like, yeah, she's doing amazing things. You need to go there. But how has business been? How have, based off of the people that's been coming in, receiving, your care? Like, how is it been growing? Has people been like, like, oh my gosh, like it's just been ramping up? Absolutely. How has business been?
It's actually really, really been taken off. And that is a testament to God and his plan and his purpose, for this particular stage of my life. Before, I was a little bit reluctant, like, God, can I really do this? And he was like, just trust me. So I have come into this position, and he has shown himself to be faithful. I can't tell you how many new people we're seeing. We see people from coast to coast, because we do offer Zoom appointments as well. So if you can't come to Indy, no problem. We'll just pull up the Zoom. So I see people in just about every state and a couple different countries as well. So God is just, putting it out there. I do not advertise. I couldn't handle it if I did.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just a testament to the mission and our heart for people, and then people really taking a hold of it and then wanting to share it so that their friends and family can have a wonderful experience and change, some of their habits and support their health as well. So word of mouth is really all that we're using, a little bit here and there on, online, but we'll be slowly growing that. But for right now, God is just taking care of business.
Oh man, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings me back. Why aren't you here? Now you really don't. So how is the process of like the Zoom calls and everything? Like, because you're treating, from overseas and other places around the planet. Like, how is that process? How does that look?
So we would set up, our Zoom time. I'll send you the link, and then we open it up, and then, it's just kind of like an in-person where you share with me your primary concerns. I'll have you either send a picture, or if you have it in front of you, any supplements or medicines you may be taking. We go over, your typical diet, how you're sleeping, any surgeries you've had. And then from there, we'll build a unique herbal protocol based off of your body and its needs. And then once you decide, okay, hey, I want to try these few or send it all, we'll pack it up and send it in the mail. And then we'll just see you in about 30 days. So pretty much the same. There's no real major difference. I just can't touch you. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I probably skipped ahead because I was going to say the process of you coming in, like, explaining the process of you here, which you can go into it as well. Because I've seen the process to kind of give you an idea of what a session with Dr. Shea looks like. So that's most of it. But when you're in person, like how, the prescription and everything here. So pretty much I skipped ahead. Sorry. But, I know you use the first one. I know that you use a very unique, what's the way to say it? Unique analysis. That's probably the best word to say it. Yeah. Can you explain that for us? Because it's like, you're the only one I know that do that, and very effective. And when I see you cooking, so explain that analysis of getting the information you need to figure out what's best for each session and each individual. Explain that.
So the primary method of evaluation we use is called muscle testing. It's also referred to as kinesiology. So this has been around for thousands of years, primarily used in traditional Chinese medicine. But it allows me to be able to listen to the body. The body is always communicating with us, whether it's, okay, my lower back is hurting, or I have a migraine, or, my knee is hurting. That's your body's way of saying, okay, something's out of balance, something's missing. So what we do is we muscle test, and the method I use is where I'll be standing up, and we kind of have coined it the leaning method. So I'll be standing up and working on you kind of as like your surrogate muscle tester. And anything that we find may have a deficiency, we make a note, and then we'll come back, because how I work is I like to be thorough the first time. I kind of hit everything head to toe and see what the body is speaking. So once we do that, we go back and find, okay, what will address the root cause of this symptom? What will address the root cause of this deficiency? And then we give your body the building blocks it needs so it can heal and restore itself, because that's how God made it. So that's what we do, is we listen to the body. And also, as I said, on the flip side, I bring in that good old Holy Spirit, because even though I have knowledge and experience, everyone I see is a unique individual. You have a unique bloodline, unique DNA. So what works for my blood pressure may or may not work for yours. So I just say, hey, God, what does your son need so that we can heal and restore his body? So I make myself available to get input from multiple sources.
So like, even with, which is great. So you know the process and everything. So where we're going to go now, we're going to go to the biggest organ. Biggest organ. Y'all probably don't even know what that is. The skin. Right? Estheticians, don't get mad at me. Okay. But what about the skin? Of maybe clearing some skin. I know sometimes if you drink enough Pepsi, you'll be looking like a Dalmatian walking around here. No offense to anyone with skin problem. No offense. And I'm not saying I got perfect skin either. None of us do. But what do you say about the biggest organ of the body, the skin, to help clear that up? I know it's pretty much, I'm trying to get y'all to understand, why aren't you here? Okay. So what about the skin for the ones, like how do we treat the skin? Because I would assume a lot, like you said, you got the supplement and you got the oral, and we take it orally. Mm-hmm. But are there herbs to go?
Absolutely.
Let's get, y'all know y'all gonna be mad at me on that one. Let's get into it. Like, how do you, like, what's the process with that?
So we can go back to that foundation one more time. Water. We have to hydrate. So hydration from the inside out, that builds a really great foundation for the skin. But there are some different things that can be going on with the skin. We could have something hormonal going on. We could have a parasite. We could have a genetic deficiency. So depending on, okay, what are we dealing with? That would determine, okay, what are we going to use to help heal the skin? So whether it's, cleansing a parasite out of the intestinal tract, which will clear up the face, or with hormones, we could be balancing estrogen versus progesterone, making sure, okay, we also need to cut back on that sugar because that's causing breakouts. Or it could be something like a genetic deficiency, like vitiligo or something like that, where we just give the body what it needs that it's deficient in, that's causing, abrasions or, patches or bumps or whatever it is. So we just support the body based off of what kind of skin issue we're working with.
Awesome. And there's herbs that kind of that you can put on the skin that you offer as well. So it's not just orally, or a capsule or oil, or you have something you can put on the skin, rub it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So what are the many types of, because you have that, you got something you can put on the skin or whatever. Is there, because you talked about teas as well. Do you offer anything maybe like tea-bowl based? Because that can be herbs that you can brew as well. Absolutely. Is there things there that you offer that can help with, the day-to-day?
So we don't offer a lot of loose teas. The primary one we just have here is called Smooth Move Tea. You can get that over the counter pretty much at any grocery store. But that helps with constipation and just moving the small intestine and large intestine along. So if you have, some constipation, you find you just can't go, that is one tea that we do use here. Otherwise, not really on the tea side, but more on the tincture side, which is basically where the plant has been cooked, put in a liquid form, which is basically a condensed and stronger version of a tea. So you don't have to wait for it to cool down. You just, move about your day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know already what I'm going to say, because why aren't? Why aren't? And speaking of water, oh man, you gotta stay hydrated. It's so, oh gosh, it's so much. So have you seen that overseas? Because you mentioned that you see a couple people overseas. How would you take the overseas, not getting in their business, but the mindset of receiving your care versus here in America receiving care? Like, what would you, is it a difference that you can tell that maybe they be more receptive, or they may be more accepting, your care of like your expertise, your information? Are they more receiving on the end, or is there a difference?
Not really. People are people from what I have experienced. So, it's about the same. Of course, you have the skeptic. You have the person that grew up with things like this, and this is just like a return to their foundation. Or you have someone that, this is something new that they just want to try. So across the board, it's kind of the same.
Okay. That's good.
That's the beauty.
People
are people.
That's all it is. That's all we are. Having a human experience.
Absolutely.
Having a human experience.
A spiritual experience in a human form.
In a human form. Another way to say it. We are one. And I just can't, because the Buddha said it's so nice in here. I see nothing but just health
Mm-hmm.
in liquid form around here, just health in general. Like I think we've covered practically so much
Mm-hmm.
of how well this can be, and not just impactful in treating, but repairing,
Mm-hmm.
going beyond the repair of what it is. Like, let me get your take of what you think. Why isn't this being pushed? Not just your care, but just herbs in general. Why you think, which I have an idea,
Yes.
why you think your perspective of it being in the industry hasn't been put out there to the masses just as much as everything else that's not doing or being as impactful as what you're doing? Why is that there? What is that looking like for you? Like your perspective on that?
Well, I kind of have to be a little cautious about what I'm getting ready to share.
Okay, no problem. Take your time. Use whatever.
Because
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's by design. It's by design. This tension started, hundreds of years ago when, there was a push for um, investors to place their money behind pharmaceutical versus traditional, because back in the day, natural paths, they were the primary source of people's health care. And believe it or not, a lot of pharmaceutical medicines are actually based off of plants.
Mm-hmm.
And, over time, there was a push back against this field in an aim to push pharmaceutical and allopathic medicine. So, there's history there. A lot of times it's about treatment as opposed to healing.
I was just
We
about to say.
want to a lot of times put people on a medicine and then put them in the cycle of, okay, we need to give you something for the side effect of this medicine, and then a side effect of this medicine causes this. So it's kind of like a hamster wheel that people get put on in traditional healthcare system. So, like I said, it's by design, but a lot of people are coming to find that there is a way to balance both. Not saying throw out the baby with the bathwater. We do need hospitals and doctors in the traditional sense of, what you would think of when you think of a doctor. But there's also a place for more holistic medicine and practices and techniques to support health and healing before we get to the point where we need pharmaceutical medicine. So it's just marrying them both and giving your body a chance to do what it's been designed to do, which is heal, restore, live, thrive. So if you have been trained and taught how to give your body the nutrition that it needs, basically, you can do a lot of preventative care, like you said, in the first place.
You said that so well.
Mm-hmm.
I've never. That's the first time I heard something so strategically.
I had to tiptoe.
You know what I mean? It was so, because y'all probably don't know. Because let me go into it. And I'm pretty sure other licensed massage therapists can back me up on this, is that we share very similar struggles.
Mm-hmm.
That massage is also by design pushed in the back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's not suggested at all. There's plenty of therapists, medical therapists, as far as massage wise, that are in hospitals, that are in chiropractors offices. So it's not saying we're not present, but by design, we don't get the credit, I would say, that we deserve. And a lot of people are not aware of how much we can help.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. That's why I asked that question, because I see that with herbs, of seeing the impact. Like I see the massive scale and the depth of help that it can help you with all of this, right? So my whole thing is, which is one of the reasons for not just the podcast in general, but bringing on what needs, I believe, to be also in the forefront, of not only, with the help of massage and everything, but also with the herbs and the self-care, trying to give the information, because I think it comes down to what's being educated and what's being promoted.
Absolutely.
By design. It's very typical for you to see, commercials, prescriptions. Are you having this? Are you having that? I sure am having that. Oh, let me see what this is about. Go see your doctor. Make sure it's doctor approved. And you may get some things that may damage more, than what you're trying to address. Right? I was going to say the word treat, but address. Right? Maybe a little bit more. So there's a balance. I love that you've really, really put that aspect out there. That was perfect. Cause y'all, how many? I'm telling you. Think about how many hospital commercials you see. Think about. I don't even care if you can't. You don't even have to be watching TV. It's on social media. It's on ads. It's everywhere you look. Is pushing the hospital agenda. And I'm not saying that we don't need it, as you said. That there's a place for it. But it's kind of, I look at it from me, my perspective. I look at that as a emergency line. You have the ER, but understand that ER is attached to that hospital. And not saying don't get checkups and everything. Of course you get checkup, but learn how to have a balance and work together. And before you go to the extreme, try come to see Dr. Shea. Try to see if there's some herbs that can address this issue. Try getting massages a lot more. Try to get more alignments of chiropractic. Try to get, PT if you're having trouble with range of motions. Look at more of these self-care awareness practices to help you before you go all the way here, because we can't do everything. Absolutely. But we can help out on so many things to keep you from here, and with herbs help reverse some of these things to keep you from going closer and closer to the surgery table. We can be backing away from it because we took the necessary protocol and gave yourself time and trying out more traditional tactics to be the best you can be with your well-being. I think I backed that up pretty good.
Absolutely.
What you think? I think I backed it up pretty good. I tried. You know what I'm saying? Because this is some big stuff right here. I know all y'all been waiting and everything like that. And I think I've addressed as much as I possibly can to kind of give you the idea with the expertise of Dr. Shea, how accessible she is, that you can contact her, you can get with her. You ain't even got to be here, and she's still able to help you, which is huge. If you don't, y'all don't understand. I'm so thankful, and I was like, is there anything else to address as far as making sure, if you don't take away from anything else, that herbs is food. Drink your water. Absolutely. Make sure you balance. Try your best to stay away from the sugar as much as possible. I know I'm with you. Okay. We all stand with you together. And I think one of the best things about not just this episode, but what we're doing today is having this conversation. This is a conversation that's not just to be listened to, is to be comprehended, applied, and shared. Because the more of us that knows that Dr. Shea, myself, are here to help you with self-care, the better impact we can make on humanity. Absolutely. In general. Now, let me go far as this with that. Let's go back to the herb just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you may have come across in your experience that is there anything that may not receive quite well? Like, is there a time where you say, you may have to go to the hospital route, the surgery
Mm-hmm.
route? Is there times where you may come across that maybe we have caught something too late?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is like, okay, now we're beyond
Absolutely.
the repair stage, that we got to start here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there times you come across that?
There are. Unfortunately, the main one that I see is cancer diagnosis. Depending on what stage we catch it, what stage that, treatment is started or not, that can kind of determine, okay, are we past the point where herbs can help? Or is it best for you to have a surgery and then we support you on the back end with where, okay, we make sure we don't get to needing an additional surgery? So that is primarily the one that I would see where, it kind of depends. And like I said, we treat everyone we see as a unique individual. And I will let people know up front, I don't believe in wasting people's time or money or their mental capacity. So if I find something that I cannot help with, I will tell you immediately, and then, support you in your health and healing with another avenue. And then, if you want to come, on the back end, like I said, and find something, different that we can help or support with, we'll be here. But yes, cancer is probably our main one that we just have to walk with each individual as we see it.
Okay. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to ground the anchor,
Mm-hmm.
to make it, to bring you, because we don't want to sit here and say herb is going to heal everything.
Yeah.
Why aren't you here?
Absolutely.
This is, as long as you got this, you're fine. There can be a too late moment.
Absolutely. And that is why it is important to get your regular checkups, ask for tests. If you feel like something is wrong with you and you're not being heard, get a second opinion, get your lab work done so that you have information and tools to make informed decisions about your health and healing. Nobody's going to care about your body more than you.
Mm-hmm. You say that again. More than you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, there's different cares too, because we still got to stay away from the chicken and the other tasteful food. It's going to be discipline. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be, it's life changing. You have to change everything from the day to day, right? So I would encourage you to get in contact with Dr. Shea unless she's too busy. You know what I mean? Because of her, see, she's never too busy. Just get in contact. Just make the call and ask yourself, why aren't you here? But other than that, I think that's we've covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did. We covered a lot of ground.
A lot of ground. I think is a major first step, major push in putting this out to say, address it now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Start now. As soon as you see this, give Dr. Shea a call. Go get your tests, go get your lab works, go get everything you need. Let's make this turnaround before it becomes too late.
Yes.
Because we don't want to go through that process, right? When you can address it head on, and that right there, How you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
You feeling great?
Feeling great.
Yep. Is there any other information or anything else you want to share with the audience, with those that may be listening, that we may not have covered? Is there anything else?
I would say just listen to your body.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. You know when something is going right and you know when something is not. So if you have those preliminary just little feelings, or something is just not feeling quite right, listen to that and make some moves. Don't let it fester, don't let it sit to the point where it progresses to something that we could have prevented if it is something that's going to harm your body long term. So, yeah, just listening to your body. There's an entity there, whether you believe it or not, that is there to protect you, guide you, lead you, direct. So just hearken your little ear back to it, and you move accordingly.
Awesome. This has been, I can't, and to piggyback off of that, this is a perfect way. So one of my favorite chiropractors that goes by the name of Dr. Brett Jones, right? Dr. Brett Jones, I think he's moved in, he's in Arizona right now. And one other thing he said is pain is an acronym, and the acronym from pain is pay attention inside now.
Mm-hmm.
Credited to Dr. Brett Jones. I think I posted that on my stories a couple of days ago. But pay attention inside now. Be in tune with your body. The more you see that's going on, the more you know when something's wrong. You can sense it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell when something is bothering you. You can tell when something is off. Especially if you come to see me, you learn to get in tune with your body a lot and very quickly, that you can tell, like, oh my goodness, I need another massage. You know what I mean? So it's just as subtle as that. Your body will tell you. And as long as you listen to it, you can help and prevent a lot of things from being worse. You can help reverse some things. You can help yourself. Help yourself be the best version of you.
Absolutely.
Which leads to what we always say for everyone that's listening. Thank you for joining in on today's episode. And remember to resync back to yourself. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can get notified on the new uploads to the channel. If you're watching this on my website, thezodiacexperience.com, make sure you join the email list where you can get notified on new episodes or even a chance to join the live show, me and the audience, and even get some cool gear like this jacket and shirt. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, iTunes, whatever you are, make sure you follow so you can get notified as well. And last but not least, if you're not following me on any of the social platforms, IG, Facebook, TikTok, etc., everything is at the Zodyac Experience. All the links, everything else could be found down below. Appreciate you tuning in. Once again, thank you. And remember to resync back to yourself.